Hey, shuckalaka kapow! How's it going, old schoolers? You're kicking it old school with Russell JS, and I am your host, Russell JS. I got a greatest hits compilation album battle royale for you. Two of the greatest hard rock bands pioneering and perfecting the sound of what we would know today as heavy metal music. Who am I talking about? How about Led Zeppelin early days versus Black Sabbath greatest hits 1970 to 1978. Both these bands, coming from England, would go ahead and forge the sound for hard rock and heavy metal. Now I got both of their compilations right here. Early days, this would be everything from Led Zeppelin 1 to Led Zeppelin 4, and then you go to latter days, which would be everything from Houses of the Holy to In Through the Outdoor. And this, being Sabbath's greatest hits from 1970 to 1978. I'm redoing this video because I was making it Thursday, but the video had stopped because I didn't have any storage for any more videos. So I had to clean out some storage in my phone just so I can make this video. So, I'm going to go ahead and I'm not going to continue where I left off. I'm going to start from the beginning. I already know, which ones already so far have the points. So remember, if you're new to the channel, hit a like, subscribe, leave comments in the box down below. Ring the bell for notifications for future videos. And tell your friends and your family, your mom, your dad, your son, your daughter, your grandma, your grandpa, your grandson, your granddaughter, your aunt, your uncle, your nieces and nephews, your coworkers, your roommates, your classmates, your supervisors, your bosses, your teachers, your cousins, your pets, your best friends. Anybody who likes to kick it old school. So without further ado, let's see how these badaskers rank out, shall we? In the case of Led Zeppelin early days versus Black Sabbath greatest hits 1970 to 1978. Good times, bad times. That right there. Oh yeah, good times, bad times versus Black Sabbath. That right there. Both got a point. Babe, I'm Gonna Leave You versus NIB. Those two each got a point. Dazed and Confused versus The Wizard. The Wizard is a great tune. I enjoy it. I dig it, but I like Dazed and Confused better. I love that raw sound and the fact that during the guitar solo is Jimmy Page running the violin bow across the guitar strings. I mean, that is something unique. That's something that, I think at one point it had been done by an old blues guitarist, but Jimmy Page years later would take credit for it. But that's something that has not been done unless there are Led Zeppelin tribute bands that do it. Communication Breakdown versus War Pigs. Ooh, this is where it hurts. So, oh yeah, and Dazed and Confused gets the point against The Wizard. Now, Communication Breakdown versus War Pigs. Oh man, I got to do this. Heads, it's going to be Zeppelin, tails, Sabbath. Oh, and by the way, I added 3 extra tracks to the Zeppelin CD because Zeppelin only had 13 and Greatest Hits of Sabbath has got 16, so I evened it out. So here we go. Heads, Zeppelin, tails, Sabbath. Ooh, and the winner is... Tails, War Pigs. All right. Number 5, Whole Lotta Love versus Paranoid. I gotta go ahead. Whole Lotta Love is awesome. It's Zeppelin's first big #1 hit. But I gotta go with Paranoid. Let's see. Added track, Heartbreaker versus Iron Man. Love that intro that Jimmy Page does, that wow, now, 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 now. I love that. It's almost like, Beavis and Butthead had done the air guitar of that. However, it doesn't hold a candle to... It can't hold a candle to Iron Man. Okay. What was and what should not be, should never be, versus Sweet Leaf. Once again, it's a good tune and everything for Zeppelin, but I'm going with Sweet Leaf on that one. Number 8, Immigrant Song versus Children of the Grave. Ooh, that is another tie. So I'm going to have to go ahead and do it. Heads, Immigrant Song. Tails, Children of the Grave. Okay, third time's going to be a charm. Can't you see how nervous I am? And the winner is Tails, Children of the Grave. All right. Now, let's see. Since I'm two of them, now these two are ballads going against each other. Well, one's very bluesy and the other's a regular ballad. Since I've Been Loving You versus Changes. Ooh, this is another one. So it's going to be heads, Zeppelin, tails, Sabbath. See, this is how nervous I am right now, because one of these is going to win. Even if it ties, it's going to be a winner. It's going to take the win, and it doesn't matter who gets angry. It's a stroke of fate. I'm sorry if you get upset if Zeppelin wins and Sabbath loses, or Sabbath wins and Zeppelin loses. So heads, Zeppelin, tails, Sabbath. And the winner goes to Tails, Black Sabbath. All right. An added track, Gallows Pole versus Snowblind. Gallows Pole is really great. I love that. I love the acoustic stuff that Jimmy Page does, but I'm going with Snowblind. All right. Black Dog, number 11. Black Dog versus Supernaut. Supernaut is awesome, but Black Dog, ooh, that's a classic, so point for Zeppelin. Rock and Roll versus Sabbath Bloody Sabbath. Yeah, this is going to be yet another tie. So here we go. Once again, heads, it's Zeppelin. Tails, it's Black Sabbath. All right, here we go. And the winner for this toss-up is heads, Led Zeppelin. All right, now the Battle of Evermore versus Hole in the Sky. Hole in the Sky is okay, but again, I love Jimmy Page's acoustic work, and I love the sound of the mandolin. I mean, it's got that kind of vibe about it where it's, classical music. This is a song I used to listen to, along with other great tracks when I was in my years of playing D&D, so that gets a point. All right, here we go. Oh boy. Stairway to Heaven versus Rock and Roll Doctor. Okay, here's where I'm at here. I've said it many times how I feel, in my opinion, that Stairway to Heaven is the most overplayed track in the history of rock and roll radio. But it's going up against Rock and Roll Doctor, which is not all that great of a tune. So here's how it's going to go once again. Oh, wait, actually, no. What am I doing? Going up again. Stairway to Heaven wins. Okay? All you Zeppelin fans out there that, are going to be like, oh, you don't like Stairway to Heaven. Stairway wins this round right here. Okay, another added track. Going to California versus Never Say Die. This is a good song, Going to California. But here's like the only one song from Sabbath toward the very end I like better, which is Never Say Die. And that's getting a point. And now, last track. And Going to California, I don't know if I added or not, that's an added track. Number 16, When the Levee Breaks versus Dirty Women. Dirty Women, once again, it's okay. It's kind of mediocre. I mean, the Never Say Die album from Sabbath was kind of making the band kind of go downhill. So the point there goes to Zeppelin. Okay, now here are the end results. Led Zeppelin early days with 11 points. Black Sabbath greatest hits 1970 to 1978 with 10 points. So that means yep, you have it said right here, friends. Right here. Led Zeppelin are the winners of this round. And, I hope everybody's cool with the results, and, just know that a lot of the stuff I say, hey, some of it is my opinion. And sometimes it's, like I always say, it's luck of the draw. I mean, and sometimes I like one song better than I like the other. And to you, it may be blasphemy, but, hey, it's just music. I mean, what difference does it really make? Yeah, I'll tell you something else. I was thinking to myself today, after I just did the video for that Star Wars plug in the TV game, I really need to lose some weight. And I had to go ahead and poke fun at myself because I read one of the comments on one of my last two videos, being asked if whether or not I smoked crack over the whole thing with Led Zeppelin. And I jokingly said, I'm pretty healthy for a crackhead if I'm on crack, But in all seriousness, I'm thinking to myself, I think it's time. Maybe I should find time to start exercising and maybe lose some of this weight and get myself back in shape. Like I said 3 years ago, I just turned 48 years old. Wednesday was my birthday. Happy birthday to me. But yeah, I'm really thinking hard because, well, if you've watched my videos, you know that I always had I always had admired Adam the Woo. And he passed away last December from cardiovascular problems. And, he was 51 years old. And now I'm 3 years shy of being 51. And I just started thinking to myself, I better go ahead and get back into shape again, man. I really should think about it because, there was once upon a time when I was 15, I was carrying the current weight that I carry today. And I was growing my hair long at the time, so it kind of started out as a mullet like most long hair on guys does. But I was 220 pounds of fat. And I used to have all kinds of issues because there I was, a freshman in high school. And, if I had to walk upstairs to go to my next class, I would have a hard time because I had to carry my books and I had to hold on to the rail as I walked up the stairs or down the stairs, and I'd almost be out of breath. And that time, on the second half of my freshman year of high school, my father would call me, when I got home from school to see how I'm doing, is everything okay, and blah, blah, blah. And, well, he read an article. He used to get the paper every day. and he read an article that at the time, John Candy was found dead in his trailer on the movie that he was filming at the age of 43. Now, a lot of you are familiar with John Candy. I mean, you've seen Uncle Buck, you've seen Who's Harry Crumb, you've seen Spaceballs, you've seen The Great Outdoors. And he was a very heavy man. And he was filming one of his last movies out in Mexico. And I think what it was he was a heavy smoker too, which I stopped smoking. Yeah, vaping is no better. I know you'd probably lecture me on that, but but yeah, you know, I really gotta seriously, I mean, I eat healthy at times, and every day I'm drinking water like it's gonna go out of style. But I really gotta consider, you know, trying to get myself into shape. You know, I thought maybe if I could write out a regimen of what I could do, like when I come home from work, you know, like after dinner, I could work with the ab wheel, and I got one of those stretchy things where you put your feet inside the thing and you pull the thing up. I got a generic Thigh Master. I could, you know, go like this. And I also have the perfect push-up contraption. I figure I could do I could do several different workouts and do 10 of them, you know, per workout. And then as I feel myself getting that energy, I could add up to 20. You know, who knows, maybe 30, maybe 40, maybe 50, and just keep doing it. You know, maybe ride my bike. You know, once I get my bicycle fixed, maybe I could ride my bike around the block, get some exercise. And get one of those portable stair things that you see at Walmart, and just do that for about 20 minutes before I go to bed. You know, and, you know, maybe give myself a goal, you know, go from 220 pounds down to what I was 20 years ago, where I was probably around 175 pounds. You know, I'm thinking about doing that too. And I'm also getting other videos in the works as well. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope, you know, the results were okay for you. Just don't be negative in the comments, you know. And as always, keep it real, keep it fresh, keep it chill. Keep it, you know, keep kicking it old school. Listen to old school music, play old school video games, watch old school movies, watch old school TV shows. You know, get you enough of love, get you enough of peace, get you enough of tranquility, get you enough of less chaos, no chaos, less drama, no drama. And as always, I'd like to wish you all Godspeed. May the force be with you always. And shuckalaka kapow!